Amid the misty hills of western Nepal lies a terrifying centuries-old custom known as chhaupadi. Every month during their menstrual period, many women are forced to leave their homes and live in small huts made of mud and straw, isolated in fields or near forests. These huts usually have only one entrance, no windows, and extremely poor sanitation. The practice was born from the belief that keeping women away during those days would keep the home spiritually pure. But over generations, it has turned into a silent horror. Without shelter, protection, or warmth, women face cold nights, illness, and crushing loneliness. Every year, this custom claims the lives of several women and girls in Nepal, killed by snake bites, wild animal attacks, or suffocation from the fires they light to stay warm. Although Nepal's government outlawed this practice in 2018, the law has yet to overcome tradition in remote mountain regions. Hopefully, in the near future, Nepali women will no longer have to live in fear or under the shadow of this dangerous custom. The largest Gen Z protest in decades in September 2025, Nepal witnessed the biggest protest in decades. It all began when the government blocked 26 social media platforms, from Facebook to TikTok. But behind that decision stood a generation exhausted by unemployment, inequality, and a deep loss of faith in their leaders. In Kathmandu, thousands of young people poured into the streets carrying banners that read Gen Z support and waving Nepal's national flag. They shouted, broke through barricades around the parliament building, and raised their phones, high symbols of voices silenced in a connected world. Police formed human shields, tear gas filled the air. Yet the crowd didn't back down. Black smoke rose from overturned cars, towering over the burning parliament building. It was the day Kathmandu fell silent no more. Just days later, Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli resigned. His replacement was Sushi Ki, a former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court known for her integrity and independence, becoming Nepal's first interim female leader. The uprising had ended, but restoring trust would require far more than just a change in leadership. The trap, within the dream of a better life. What if I told you that a simple promise of a stable job abroad could make thousands of Nepalis disappear from their homeland every year? Would you believe it? In poor villages at the foot of the Himalayas, where opportunities are nearly non-existent, job brokers show up like bearers of hope. They promise high-paying jobs in Malaysia, India, or the Middle East, enough to build a house, support parents, and start a better life. But once they leave Nepal, those dreams collapse quickly. Passports are confiscated, jobs vanish, and workers are forced to stay under brutal conditions, cut off from their families. Some women are even lured by fake love stories, their romantic saviors turning into their captors, trapping them in lives they never chose. According to the United Nations, more than 12,000 Nepalis fall into this situation every year. Some are rescued, others never return. The Nepali government and international organizations are working to end this vicious cycle. But where poverty remains a daily reality, sweet promises continue to be believed one person after another. The dangerous honey hunting tradition of Nepal would Aicheo. You dare to hang from a cliff more than 300 feet high, balancing on a swinging bamboo ladder while thousands of giant bees swarm and attack around your head? That's the perilous work of the Gurung people, the honey hunters of the Himalayas. They risk their lives to collect honey from Apis laboriosa, the world's largest honeybee, which builds its hives on sheer vertical cliffs. This tradition dates back hundreds of years, originally as a ritual of gratitude to the forest gods, and today it continues as a way to survive in the harsh mountain wilderness. Hunters burn dry leaves to create smoke that drives the bees away, while one man climbs the ladder suspended in mid-air using a long stick to cut down heavy chunks of honeycomb. The only thing keeping them connected to the cliff is a worn rope tied to the bamboo ladder. Today, some tourists can join honey harvesting expeditions as a form of adventure tourism. But remember, this isn't a game. You're stepping into a real survival challenge. Would you dare to become a honey hunter? Comment 3, if you would. The tradition of polyandry, you've probably heard of one man with many wives, but what about one woman with many husbands? In the remote mountain regions of Mustang and Dolpa, where farmland is scarce and winters last half the year, the practice of polyandry, a woman marrying several men, usually brothers, still exists today. This tradition wasn't born from romance, but from survival. When arable land is limited, brothers sharing a single wife prevents property from being divided and keeps the family estate intact. They live together under one roof, sharing work, possessions, and even the marriage itself. But behind this stability lie untold stories. Many women have no choice in whom they marry, living in silence and treating the marriage as a duty rather than love. To outsiders, it may seem like tradition, but for those within, it's a compromise. Between survival and freedom, a price not everyone is willing to pay. From the roof of the world to the highest trash dump on Earth, no one ever imagined that the roof of the world, Mount Everest, would slowly sink under piles of garbage. Once a symbol of human courage and ambition, the mountain now bears another title, the highest garbage dump on Earth. Every year, thousands of climbers arrive at Everest chasing glory. But when they leave, the mountain is left behind with tons of empty oxygen bottles, torn tents, food containers, and trash buried beneath layers of ice. According to Nepal's government, more than 60,000 lbs of waste have been collected in recent years. And that's just the visible part. Massive cleanup campaigns have been launched, with even the Nepali army climbing up to 26,000 feet to pick up litter by hand. Since 2025, the government has raised the climbing permit fee to $15,000 and now requires every climber to carry waste bags to promote environmental responsibility. But to truly clean up Everest, it will take more than new rules. It will take a complete shift in how humanity thinks about its relationship with nature. The dark side of transparency in Nepal, you need luck more than you need the law. It sounds like a joke, but it perfectly captures reality here. In recent years, several scandals have revealed that transparency remains one of Nepal's biggest challenges. At the end of 2023, investigators uncovered a massive fake travel document network involving more than 1,500 forged records. Some applicants were asked to pay extra fees of up to $8,000 just to complete their paperwork. The incident sparked fierce public debate about integrity within Nepal's administrative system. Only a few months later, in early 2024, another scandal erupted, the Giri Bandhut estate case, where hundreds of acres of farmland were illegally reclassified as commercial property through special arrangements. Eventually, the Supreme Court had to step in and annul the entire decision. Experts say these aren't isolated cases, but warning signs of a system in dire need of reform. In Nepal, sometimes what moves faster than the law is money. Nepal, the ETI hotspot for mountaineering scams. Nepal, the legendary land for those who dream of touching the Himalayas. But did you know that if you plan to climb here, you could easily fall victim to one of the world's most elaborate scam networks? From fake climbing permits and ghost guides offering suspiciously cheap tours to trekking companies vanishing after taking deposits, these schemes have crushed countless dreams of summiting the Himalayas. The biggest scandal broke in 2018 when investigators discovered more than 1,300 suspicious helicopter rescues within just 5 months, costing insurance companies over $6.5 million. Some trekking agencies were accused of staging fake emergencies for tourists to trigger rescue flights, then profiting from massive insurance payouts. It sounds unbelievable, but it really happened. Nepal's government has since tightened regulations, but for many travelers, trust on the Himalayas is hard to rebuild because sometimes the real danger isn't on the mountain trail, it's the person you hire to lead the way. Karnali Highway, Nepal's most dangerous road, known as the most dangerous road in Nepal and one of the scariest in the world. The Karnali Highway, H13, stretches roughly 165 miles, connecting the city of Surkhet to the remote mountain town of Jumla in northwestern Nepal. The road clings to steep cliffs with rough gravel sections, crumbling asphalt, and potholes as deep as bomb craters. Sharp turns, vertical drops, and endless ravines make the route a constant test of nerve. During monsoon season, it turns into a river of slippery mud. In the dry months, red dust fills the air. Old buses, overloaded trucks, and motorcycles crawl bumper to bumper, while landslides and falling rocks are almost a daily occurrence. Many drivers say they feel the road instead of reading road signs, because here signs are as rare as snow in summer. On the Karnali highway, no one's in a rush, because sometimes one wrong turn means the journey may never end. A business disguised as voluntourism. Have you ever thought that kindness itself could turn into a business? Every year, thousands of foreign tourists travel to Nepal hoping to help orphans. They donate, play with children, and truly believe they're doing something good. But behind many of these volunteer trips lies a shocking truth. Many of the children in these orphanages are not actually orphans. In poor rural areas, brokers approach struggling families and promise to send their children to the city for education. Those children are then placed in over 500 orphanages where their photos are used to attract donations from foreign visitors. Australian lawyer Kate Van Dor was stunned when a little girl once told her, "I'm not an orphan. Can I go home to my mother now?" Ironically, what began as an act of compassion has unintentionally fueled an entire industry built on separation and exploitation. Today, many organizations are working to reunite these children with their families so that kindness once again can return to its true meaning. The world's largest animal sacrifice festival. Once every 5 years, the small village of Bariarpur in southern Nepal becomes the center of global attention. It hosts one of the largest animal sacrifice rituals on earth, the Gadimai festival. Here, hundreds of thousands of Hindu devotees gather at the Gadimai temple, believing their goddess will bless them with peace and prosperity in exchange for their offerings. In 2009, the festival reached a record number. More than 500,000 animals, including buffaloes, goats, and chickens, were sacrificed. After a worldwide outcry, the number dropped to around 250,000 in 2014. Authorities even announced a ban on the ritual. Yet by 2024, the tradition had returned with between 250,000 and 500,000 offerings, including 1,500 buffaloes inside the temple grounds alone. Amid the drums, incense, smoke, and tens of thousands of worshippers kneeling in prayer, Gadimai is more than just a festival. It's a powerful testament to faith, a force strong enough to make the entire world bow before tradition. Faith in Nepal's food culture in Nepal. What's served on the table often reveals more than you might think. With over 80% of the population practicing Hinduism, cows are considered sacred symbols of life and gratitude. Eating beef is not only frowned upon but also illegal, as it goes against deep-rooted religious beliefs. Yet just a few streets away, buffalo meat is openly sold. Locals call it the permitted version, a way to balance practical needs with spiritual respect. But sometimes that delicate line becomes a source of misunderstanding between communities, especially in conservative regions where faith remains intertwined with every meal. In Nepal, food isn't just about flavor. It's a mirror of society where religion, culture, and tolerance are constantly learning how to coexist. The deuki tradition in western Nepal, where ancient faith still shapes daily life. There exists a centuries-old ritual called deuki. During the ceremony, a young girl dressed in traditional clothing walks into the sacred temple amid prayers, and from that moment on, her life no longer belongs to herself. It belongs to the gods. But once the ritual ends, the miracle never comes. After being donated, many girls are abandoned by their families and left to live around the temples. They are forbidden from attending school, denied the right to marry, and treated as outcasts. Some spend their entire lives depending on the charity of villagers, silent figures dwelling in moss-covered shrines. Although Nepal officially banned this practice in 1990, deuki still survives, a scar of faith where prayers for blessings turned into a lifetime of abandonment. The story of the monkey temple. When you think of Nepal, you probably imagine peace, meditation, and temple bells ringing in the distance. But visit Swayambhunath, better known as the Monkey Temple, and you'll find something very different. Despite its charming name, it's one of the strangest battlegrounds between humans and nature anywhere in the world. Hundreds of monkeys roam freely across the temple complex, on rooftops, stairways, and even on tourists' shoulders. They're fearless, unafraid of humans. They steal food, snatch phones, and hiss at anyone who dares to get too close. Meanwhile, monks continue their prayers amid the chaos, as tourists clutch their bags and water bottles in survival mode. Just one visit to this temple will show you why. In Nepal, the line between the sacred and the wild is closer than you might think. Would you dare visit and play with these monkeys? Comment one if you're ready. A smile. Instead of a hug, you can conquer the Himalayas. But one wrong touch, even an innocent one, might be crossing the line in Nepal. People here are very reserved when it comes to showing affection in public. This often causes culture shock for many Western visitors. Maybe even for you if you're used to expressing emotions freely. A kiss, a hug, or even a friendly pat on the shoulder with the opposite sex can easily draw uncomfortable stares. In Kathmandu, younger generations have become more open, but just outside the city, the silent rules still apply. To the Nepali people, restraint is a sign of respect, something they value far more than sweet words. So if you're a visitor, let subtlety speak for you. In Nepal, sometimes the simplest smile is the most beautiful expression of affection. That wraps up our look into 15 hidden sides of Nepal. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening stories from around the world. See you in the next video.